Please help my grandma. They're killing her and nobody believes me.
Marcus Chen's voice cracked as he thrust his phone toward the scarred biker, hands shaking so hard the evidence photos blurred. 48 hours until they disappeared his grandmother to Nevada. 48 hours to convince this dangerous stranger that Evergreen Senior Living wasn't a 5-star care facility. It was a death factory. 6 weeks of watching Grandma Rose deteriorate from walking to wheelchair-bound. 4 dead veterans. 73 medication errors. And one 12-year-old's desperate bet that the most terrifying man in a Montana truck stop was exactly the protector he needed. Before we continue, please hit that subscribe button and stay with us until the end to see how one phone call brought 87 Hells Angels to save a dying veteran. Let us know in the comments what city you're watching from, so we can see how far this story of courage travels. Marcus's hands shook as he approached the motorcycle parked under the flickering gas station lights. October cold bit through his jacket. The man standing beside the bike looked like every warning his teachers had ever given about strangers. 6 feet tall, leather vest covered in patches Marcus didn't understand, gray beard down to his chest, and a scar running from his left eye to his jaw that told stories Marcus couldn't imagine. The man turned. His eyes were cold, assessing. "Sir, I need help." Marcus's voice cracked. "Please, my grandmother's dying and nobody will listen." The biker stared at him for 3 long seconds. "Kid, where are your parents?" "My dad's at the hospital. He's an ER doctor. He works doubles. He doesn't know I'm here." The words tumbled out. "But I found evidence. Real evidence. Please, just look at it before you leave." "Evidence of what?" "Murder." Marcus pulled out his phone. "They're killing veterans at Evergreen Senior Living. My grandma's next. They're transferring her to Nevada in 2 days, and once she's there, I'll never see her again." The biker's expression didn't change. "What's your name, kid?" "Marcus Chen. My grandmother is Rose Chen. She was a nurse in Vietnam. She saved people. Now someone's killing her and everyone thinks I'm crazy." Something shifted in the man's face. "Vietnam nurse?" "Yes, sir. Women's Army Corps. She doesn't talk about it much, but she has medals. Bronze Star, Purple Heart from when her field hospital got hit." Marcus pulled up a photo on his phone. "That's her 6 weeks ago. Walking. Clear eyes. She was reading 3 books a week." He swiped to the next photo. "That's her yesterday. Wheelchair. Can't hold her head up. Bruises on her arms that the staff says are from falls, but look at the pattern. Those are finger marks." The biker took the phone, studied both images. His jaw tightened. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. "People call me Reaper." "Why?" "Because I'm the last thing bad people see before their world ends." Reaper handed back the phone. "Show me everything you've got. All of it." Marcus's knees nearly gave out from relief. "Thank you. God, thank you." "Don't thank me yet. If you're lying, if this is some kid's fantasy, I'm driving away and you're going home to your father. Clear?" "I'm not lying. I swear on my grandmother's life." Reaper gestured to the picnic table outside the truck stop. "Sit. Talk. Convince me." Marcus sat, pulled his backpack around and started removing items. A spiral notebook, printed photos, a thumb drive. His hands were steadier now. He'd practiced this presentation 17 times. "I started noticing problems 6 weeks ago," Marcus began. "Grandma Rose moved into Evergreen on September 1st. It's supposed to be the best facility in Montana. 5-star rating, awards everywhere. Director Sharon Vance used to run the hospital geriatric unit before she went private." "Keep going." "The first week was fine. Grandma seemed happy. Good food, nice room, activities. But week 2, she started getting confused, forgetting things. I thought it was just adjustment stress. But it wasn't. Week 3, she fell. They said she got dizzy standing up too fast. Week 4, she fell again. Week 5, she couldn't walk without assistance. Week 6, she's in a wheelchair full-time and barely knows who I am half the time. Reaper's eyes narrowed. What medications is she on? Blood pressure, cholesterol, and something for mild dementia that her doctor prescribed 2 years ago. She was stable on those meds for 24 months. Now, suddenly, she's declining like she's got late-stage Alzheimer's. You talked to her doctor? Dr. Hammond said Evergreen's medical director handles all in-house care now, Dr. Reeves. I tried calling Dr. Reeves 4 times. Her secretary says she'll call back. Never does. Marcus opened the notebook, but here's what made me start investigating. I visit every day after school, 3:30 to 5:30. I started writing down what I saw. He pointed to entries. September 15th. Grandma's pill cup had 3 pills instead of her usual 4. I asked the aide, lady named Patricia. She said the doctor adjusted the dose. September 18th. Again, only 3 pills. September 22nd. Only 2 pills. You ask about it? Every time. Different aides, different excuses. Dose adjustment, doctor's orders, computer error. One aide told me to stop bothering the staff. Reaper leaned forward. What else? I started recording everything. Marcus pulled out his phone, opened the voice memo app. I keep this running in my backpack during visits. It's legal. Montana's a one-party consent state. I researched that. He played the first recording. A woman's voice, impatient and sharp. Marcus, honey, your grandmother doesn't need you here every single day. You're upsetting her routine. Marcus's voice, younger, uncertain. But she seems confused. Yesterday she didn't recognize me. That's the disease progressing, sweetheart. It happens. You need to prepare yourself. But 6 weeks ago she was fine. Sometimes decline happens fast. That's how dementia works. Marcus stopped the recording. That was Patricia again. But here's the thing. I looked up rapid onset dementia. It's rare, usually caused by specific conditions: stroke, brain tumor, severe vitamin deficiency. I asked if they'd tested Grandma for those things. What did they say? That I was a child and should let the professionals handle medical decisions. Marcus played another recording. Different voice, male this time, authoritative. Mr. Chen, I understand your concern for your grandmother, but Evergreen Senior Living has protocols. We cannot discuss patient care details with minors, even family members. Marcus's recorded voice. Can you discuss them with my dad? We've sent updates to Dr. Chen's office. If he has questions, he can contact Dr. Reeves directly. Reaper's expression darkened. Your father never got those updates, did he? No, I checked his email. Nothing from Evergreen except the initial admission paperwork and monthly billing. Smart kid. Reaper tapped the notebook. What else? Marcus turned pages. I started noticing patterns with other residents. There is a Korean War vet, Mr. Patterson, room 14. He was there when Grandma arrived, walking, talking, playing chess in the common room. 3 weeks later, he's bedbound. Another resident, Mrs. Kowalski, her daughter visits weekends. She told me her mom went from independent to incontinent in 5 weeks. How many residents total? 42. I made a chart. Marcus pulled out a printed spreadsheet. I categorized them by admission date and current condition. The pattern is clear. New admissions decline rapidly around week 6 or 7. Then they either stabilize at a very low level of function or they die. Reaper studied the chart. How many deaths? 4, since June. Mr. Rodriguez, July 2nd. Mrs. Chen, no relation, August 14th. Mr. Keller, September 23rd. Mr. Patterson died yesterday. Yesterday? Yes, sir. That's why I'm here tonight. That's why I can't wait anymore. I went to visit Grandma after school, and Mr. Patterson's room was empty. I asked Patricia where he was. She said he passed peacefully in his sleep. Natural causes. You don't believe that. I heard them talking. Marcus's voice dropped. I was in the hallway outside the nurse's station. 2 aides, Patricia and someone named Lynn. They didn't know I was there. He played another recording. 2 women's voices, casual, discussing it like weather. Skip made it to day 89. Sharon's going to be pissed. She wanted him to hit 90. He was coding this morning. What was she supposed to do? Keep him on life support? You know the protocol. 90 days is the magic number. After that, reimbursement drops and we're losing money on them. Well, his daughter's coming tomorrow to collect his things. Make sure the room's cleaned out by 10. The recording ended. Reaper was very still. Play that again. Marcus replayed it. When it finished, Reaper stood, walked 3 steps away, stood with his back to Marcus for a long moment. You understand what you're saying? Reaper's voice was quiet. Dangerous. You're accusing a licensed care facility of killing residents for Medicare fraud. I know how it sounds. Do you? Reaper turned around. Because I've seen this before. My sister died in a place like this. Oregon, 2019. Pristine facility. Awards. 5-star ratings. She went in for hip surgery recovery. 6 weeks later, she was dead. They said complications, natural decline. I never believed it, but I had no proof. Marcus felt tears burning. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be right. Because if you're wrong, you're destroying innocent people's lives. If you're right, we're going to war. So I need you to show me everything. No holding back. Marcus pulled out the thumb drive. This has everything. Photos, recordings, the chart, medication logs I photographed when the nurses weren't looking. And one more thing. What? Last week I hid a camera in Grandma's room. One of those nanny cams that looks like a phone charger. My friend's mom uses one for her baby. I plugged it in beside Grandma's bed. It's been recording for 6 days. You watched the footage? All of it. Marcus's hands clenched. They're giving her the wrong medications. Pills that look the same, but aren't the same. I cross-referenced the pills against online pharmacy pictures. The blood pressure medication she's supposed to get is white and round. They're giving her white and round pills, but when I zoomed in, the imprint code is different. Different manufacturer. Different medication. Reaper sat down hard. Jesus Christ. I think they're giving her sedatives instead of her real medications. That's why she's so confused. That's why she can't wake up properly. And I think they're doing it to multiple residents. Why haven't you gone to the police? Marcus's face flushed. I did. I went to the sheriff's office 3 days ago. Talked to Sheriff Garrett. He listened for 5 minutes, then called my dad. Told him I was making serious accusations without evidence. My dad grounded me. Took my laptop. Said I was spending too much time on the internet reading conspiracy theories. Your father doesn't believe you? He works 80-hour weeks. He's exhausted. And Sheriff Garrett is friends with Director Vance. They're both on the hospital board. The sheriff told my dad that I'm grieving Grandma's decline and looking for someone to blame. But you've got recordings. I tried to show them. Dad wouldn't listen. He said Evergreen has an impeccable reputation, that Sharon Vance is respected in the community. That I'm 12 years old and don't understand medical care. Reaper's jaw worked. What about your school? I told my guidance counselor, Mrs. Palmer. She called my dad, suggested I might benefit from counseling, said grief manifests in different ways. Maybe I needed to talk to someone about my feelings. So 4 adults failed you? Yes, sir. And now you're asking a stranger in a parking lot. You're my last chance. Tomorrow they're moving Grandma to their sister facility in Nevada, Carson City, 3 states away. Director Vance says it's because they specialize in advanced dementia care. But I looked up that facility. It's got horrible reviews. Families complaining they can't get visitation, phone calls not returned. And I found death certificates, public records. That facility has a mortality rate 3 times the national average. Reaper pulled out his phone. What's the facility called? Golden Sunset Memory Care. Reaper typed, scrolled, his face getting harder with each passing second. Finally, he looked up. 23 facilities across 8 states, all owned by the same corporation, Golden Sunset Care Corporation. Board of Directors includes 2 former CMS administrators. CMS? Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the people who regulate nursing homes and process payments. Reaper kept reading. CEO is Richard Vance. Any relation to your director, Sharon? Her brother. Of course he is. Reaper stood. Marcus, I'm going to make a phone call. While I do that, I need you to send me everything on that thumb drive. Can you do that? Yes, sir. My email. Reaper rattled off an address. Send it all. Then wait here. Don't move. Don't call your father. Don't do anything until I get back. Understood? Where are you going? To keep a promise I made to my sister 5 years ago. Reaper walked toward his motorcycle, pulled out his phone, and dialed. Marcus couldn't hear the conversation, but he saw Reaper's posture change. Shoulders back, military bearing. The man was reporting to someone. 3 minutes later, Reaper returned. How far is Evergreen from here? 14 miles, west on 93, then north on County Road 7. I'm going to visit your grandmother tonight. You're coming with me. They won't let us in. Visiting hours end at 8. It's 9:30. They'll let us in. Reaper's smile was cold. Or I'll let myself in. Your choice is this, Marcus. You trust me completely, or you walk away now. Because what I'm about to do isn't legal. It isn't safe. And it might get both of us arrested. What are you going to do? I'm going to get visual confirmation of abuse. I'm going to confront Sharon Vance. And I'm going to make a phone call that brings 87 motorcycles to Pinewood Falls by dawn. Marcus stared at him. 87? Montana chapter. Every brother within 300 miles. Because here's what you don't know yet, kid. Your grandmother, Rose Chen? The nurse who saved Marines in Vietnam. One of those Marines was my chapter president's father. Iron Horse Jim Blackwood. Died in 2003 from Agent Orange complications. But before he died, he told his son about the nurse who kept him alive for 6 hours under fire, carried him and 3 other wounded Marines to the evac zone, got shot in the process, but wouldn't leave them. Marcus's eyes widened. Grandma never talks about that. Heroes usually don't. Reaper straddled his motorcycle. Get on. Helmet's in the saddlebag. We're riding. Your dad will forgive you when you save your grandmother's life. Now get on or stay here. Choose fast. Marcus grabbed the helmet. They roared west on Highway 93, the October night cold and sharp. Marcus held on tight, his backpack pressed between them, containing everything. Evidence. Hope. The last chance. 14 miles passed in 12 minutes. Evergreen Senior Living sat on 15 manicured acres. Colonial architecture, elegant signage, warm lighting in every window. It looked like a resort. Reaper parked in the visitor lot. Stay close. Don't speak unless I tell you to. If anyone asks, you're my nephew. Clear? Yes, sir. They walked to the front entrance. Locked. Reaper pressed the intercom button. A woman's voice crackled through. We're closed. Visiting hours resume at 9 a.m. My nephew and I are here to see Rose Chen, room 22. We drove 3 hours from Missoula. We'll make it brief. I'm sorry, sir, but policy— Ma'am, I'm a veteran. The woman in room 22 saved my life in Vietnam. I'd like to see her before I head out tomorrow. 5 minutes. That's all I need. Pause. Then, let me check with the night supervisor. 2 minutes passed. 3. The door buzzed open. A young woman in scrubs stood in the lobby. Early 20s, name tag reading Amy. She looked nervous. 5 minutes. Don't upset Mrs. Chen. She needs her rest. Understood. Amy led them down a carpeted hallway. Soft classical music played from hidden speakers. Framed watercolors lined the walls. Everything whispered expensive, quality, care. Room 22's door was open. Marcus's grandmother sat in a wheelchair by the window, head lolling to one side. She wore a nightgown. Her arms showed bruises in various stages of healing: yellow, purple, green. Reaper stopped in the doorway. Rose Chen. Grandma Rose's eyes moved slowly toward them, unfocused, confused. Marcus? Her voice was thick, slurred. That you, baby? It's me, Grandma. Marcus moved to her side, took her hand. Reaper knelt beside the wheelchair, bringing himself to her eye level. Ma'am, my name is Jackson Stone. Friends call me Reaper. I served with Marines who told stories about a nurse who saved their lives under fire. Bronze Star? Purple Heart. That you? Something flickered in Rose's eyes. Recognition. Pride. Long time ago. I came to say thank you, on behalf of the men you saved. Just did my job. You did more than that, ma'am. Reaper's voice was gentle. How you feeling? Tired. So tired. Can't seem to wake up. What medications are you taking? Don't know. They give me pills. I take them. How many pills? Rose's forehead creased. Morning is 3, evening is 2, I think. Hard to remember. Reaper looked at Marcus, who mouthed, should be 4 and 3. Mrs. Chen, would you mind if I looked at your medication cup, the one they'll give you in the morning? Don't mind. Reaper stood, went to the small table beside the bed. A plastic cup held 5 pills. He pulled out his phone, photographed them, then used an app Marcus recognized. Pill Identifier. His face went stone cold. Amy, Reaper called into the hallway. Come here, please. The aide appeared. Yes? What medications is Mrs. Chen prescribed? I don't have access to that information. You'd need to speak with Dr. Reeves. Then get Dr. Reeves on the phone. Sir, it's almost 10 p.m. Dr. Reeves isn't on call. Then get whoever is on call. Now. Amy's face flushed. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Not until I speak to medical staff. I'll call security. You do that. Amy pulled out a radio. Security to room 22. We have a visitor refusing to leave. 2 minutes later, a heavy-set man in a security uniform arrived. Sir, you need to leave the premises. Not until I get answers about patient care. If you don't leave, I'm calling the sheriff. Please do. Reaper pulled out his phone. While you're at it, I'm calling the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, Adult Protective Services, and the FBI. The security guard froze. FBI? Medicare fraud, elder abuse, falsified medical records. Want me to keep going? You're insane. I'm a concerned citizen. This woman is a decorated veteran being given medication that doesn't match her prescription. These pills... Reaper held up his phone, showing the identification results. Are haloperidol and lorazepam, powerful sedatives. Her prescription calls for lisinopril and metformin, blood pressure and diabetes medication. You're sedating her instead of treating her. Amy's face went white. That's impossible. I just picked up her medication from the pharmacy cart tonight. Then your pharmacy cart is wrong, or someone switched the pills. Either way, this facility is administering wrong medications to a vulnerable patient. The security guard reached for his radio. I'm calling Director Vance. You do that. Tell her she's got about 6 hours before 87 motorcycles show up, asking questions she won't want to answer. Marcus watched everything with his heart pounding. This was real. This was happening. Reaper wasn't backing down. 15 minutes later, Sharon Vance arrived in yoga pants and a fleece jacket. Hair pulled back, no makeup. She looked like anyone's tired mother, not a villain. That was the thing Marcus had learned. Evil didn't wear a sign. Mr. Stone, I'm Director Vance. I understand there's been some confusion. No confusion. Your staff is giving residents wrong medications. That's a serious accusation. It's a documented fact. Reaper showed her the pill photos and identification results. Those pills don't match her prescription. Either you've got a catastrophic medication error that affects God knows how many residents, or you've got systematic fraud. Which is it? Sharon's expression never changed. Calm, professional. I'll need to investigate this immediately. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. We take patient safety very seriously. I'm sure you do. That's why 4 residents have died in the last 4 months. Our residents are elderly and often medically fragile. Deaths occur. Not at 3 times the national average, they don't. Sharon's eyes narrowed. Who are you? I'm someone who doesn't like veterans being abused, and I'm someone who's got very motivated friends arriving at dawn. Reaper stepped closer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to give Rose Chen her correct medications starting right now. You're going to order a full audit of every resident's medication regimen. And you're going to allow independent medical examination of every patient in this facility. Or what? Or I park 87 motorcycles in your driveway and invite every news station in Montana to ask why. Sharon smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Mr. Stone, I appreciate your concern. However, I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. If you have formal complaints, please submit them through proper channels. Adult Protective Services has their website. I'm sure you can find it. Already called them. They're opening an investigation tomorrow morning. Then I'll cooperate fully with any official investigation. But tonight, you're trespassing. Security, please escort Mr. Stone and the boy off the property. Reaper didn't move. One more thing. Rose Chen is not being transferred to Nevada tomorrow. That's not your decision. Actually, it is. Her son, Dr. David Chen, will be filing emergency injunction first thing tomorrow morning. You attempt to move her, you're in violation of a court order. Sharon's smile vanished. Dr. Chen has authorized her transfer. I have signed paperwork. Obtained under false pretenses, coerced signature. He's revoking consent as we speak. That was a bluff. Marcus knew it. His father was asleep at home, had no idea any of this was happening. But Sharon didn't know that. Her voice went cold. Get out. Now. Or I'm having you arrested for trespassing, harassment, and threatening staff. Threatening? I haven't threatened anyone. You said you'd bring 87 motorcycles to intimidate us. Intimidate? No, ma'am. I said I'd invite them to ask questions. First Amendment, freedom of assembly. Unless you've got something to hide? Sharon turned to security. Remove them. If they resist, call Sheriff Garrett. The security guard moved toward Reaper, who held up both hands. We're leaving, peacefully. Marcus, say goodbye to your grandmother. Marcus hugged Grandma Rose. She felt so small, so fragile. I love you, Grandma. Help is coming. Love you too, baby. Her words were slurred. Don't worry about me. In the hallway, Sharon blocked their path. If you return to this property without authorization, you'll be arrested. If you harass my staff, you'll be arrested. If you make false accusations in public, I'll sue you for defamation. Are we clear? Crystal, Reaper smiled.
See you at dawn, Director Vance. Bring coffee. It's going to be a long day. They walked out into the October cold. In the parking lot, Marcus finally broke. She's going to move Grandma tonight. She's going to hide her before morning. No, she's not. How do you know? Because I'm not leaving. Reaper straddled his motorcycle. I'm parking across the street on public property. If any vehicle tries to leave this facility before dawn, I'm following it. You need to go home. I want to stay. Your father's going to wake up and find you gone. He'll call the police. You'll be reported missing, and this whole thing turns into a circus about a runaway kid instead of about patient abuse. But, Marcus, listen to me. Reaper gripped his shoulder. You did your job. You gathered evidence. You found someone who believes you. Now I need you to trust me to do my job. Go home. Act normal. When your dad wakes up, tell him you couldn't sleep and went for a walk. Don't mention me. Don't mention tonight. Not yet. When? When 87 motorcycles roll into town at dawn, everything changes. Your father will have to listen then. But right now, you need to be the kid who went home and went to bed. Can you do that? Marcus nodded, throat tight. Good man. Reaper pulled out his phone, typed quickly. Sending you my number. Anything changes, anything at all, you text me. Don't call. Text. Clear? Clear. Now go, fast, before someone sees you're still here. Marcus ran. He made it home by 11, snuck in through his bedroom window, left unlocked for this exact purpose, lay in bed, fully clothed, shaking. His phone buzzed. Text from Reaper. In position. She's not moving anyone tonight. Sleep if you can. Tomorrow, we end this. Marcus stared at his ceiling. Sleep felt impossible. But somehow, for the first time in 6 weeks, he felt something like hope. Because tomorrow, 87 motorcycles were coming. And his grandmother was going to be saved. Marcus woke at 4:47 a.m. to the sound of thunder that wasn't thunder. Deep rumble, getting louder. He rolled out of bed, ran to his window. Highway 93 was alive with headlights. Motorcycles. Dozens of them. Streaming past his neighborhood like a river of chrome and leather, heading west toward Evergreen. His phone buzzed. Reaper. They're here. Stay home. Let us work. Marcus texted back. How many? 87. Every brother in Montana. Another rumble shook the house. More bikes. Marcus counted 20, 30, lost count. His bedroom door opened. His father stood there in scrubs, hair disheveled, looking exhausted and confused. Marcus, what the hell is that noise? I don't know, Dad. David Chen moved to the window, watched the procession. Those are Hell's Angels.
Why are there Hell's Angels in Pinewood Falls at 5 in the morning? Marcus's heart hammered. He couldn't lie to his father anymore. They're going to Evergreen. What? Dad, please listen. Just listen. Graham's being hurt. They're giving her wrong medications. I have proof. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't believe me, so I found someone who would. David stared at his son. What did you do? I found evidence. Real evidence, recordings, photos, medication discrepancies. 4 residents dead in 4 months. And I gave it to someone who actually listened. You went to bikers? Marcus, do you have any idea how dangerous, more dangerous than watching Grandma die while everyone tells me it's natural? Marcus's voice cracked. Dad, you work all the time. You don't see her every day like I do. She's not sick. She's being poisoned. That's insane. Is it? When's the last time you actually looked at her medical charts? When's the last time you questioned why a woman who was walking 6 weeks ago is now wheelchair-bound? When's the last time you asked why Evergreen won't return your calls? David's face flushed. I've been busy. I'm keeping a roof over our heads. I know, Dad. I know you're doing your best. But while you were busy, I was watching Grandma disappear. And nobody would help. Not the sheriff, not my school counselor, not you. So I found someone who would. By approaching strangers in parking lots? By approaching a Vietnam veteran who lost his sister to a facility just like Evergreen, who kept a promise to investigate, who actually cared enough to look at the evidence. David ran both hands through his hair. This is a nightmare. It's about to get worse. They're moving Grandma to Nevada today unless we stop them. We can't just, Dad, please. For once, just trust me. Get dressed, drive to Evergreen, look at what's happening. Then decide if I'm crazy. David Chen stood frozen for 10 seconds. Then he grabbed his phone. Get in the car. Now. They drove west on Highway 93. The stream of motorcycles had passed, but the rumble still echoed in the distance. When they turned onto County Road 7, David slammed on the brakes. Evergreen Senior Living's parking lot was full. 87 motorcycles parked in perfect formation. Riders standing beside their bikes. Silent. Waiting. A massive man stood at the front. 6'4", barrel chest, gray beard to his sternum. His leather vest had patches Marcus had learned to read last night. President, Montana chapter, Vietnam, Bronze Star. Reaper stood beside him. David parked. Stay in the car. No. Marcus, they're here because of me. I'm coming. They walked toward the bikers. Every eye tracked them. Nobody moved. The discipline was military. Absolute. The big man stepped forward. Dr. Chen? Yes? I'm Jim Blackwood. People call me Iron Horse. Your son contacted my brother Reaper last night with evidence of systematic patient abuse. We're here to investigate. This is private property. You're trespassing. Public sidewalk, Doctor. Check your property lines. We're standing exactly 6 inches outside Evergreen's boundary. Been here since 0500. Haven't moved. Haven't made noise. Just watching. Watching what? Watching to make sure nobody moves residents without proper authorization. Watching to make sure your mother stays safe until we sort this out. Iron Horse's voice was steady, calm. Your son showed us evidence that would make any decent person sick. Now I'm going to ask you a question. When's the last time you verified your mother's medication regimen? David's jaw tightened. I trusted the facility. That's not what I asked. 3 weeks ago, when she was admitted. And since then?
I receive updates. Written updates? Phone calls? Or just billing statements? David didn't answer. Iron Horse nodded. Thought so. Dr. Chen, we've got a veteran nurse on our team. Served 20 years Army. She's been watching this facility all night. Want to know what she observed? I'm listening. A woman stepped forward, 50-something, silver hair pulled back, wearing a leather jacket over hospital scrubs. Her vest patch read, Doc. I'm Maria Santos, retired Major, Army Nurse Corps. At 02:15, I watched night staff remove IV bags from 6 residents and replace them with different bags. At 03:40, I watched them document medication administration 30 minutes before actually giving medications. At 04:10, I watched them mix pills from multiple bottles into individual cups without checking labels. David's face went pale. That's criminal negligence. That's Tuesday, Doctor. Every night, same pattern. I've been documenting. She held up a tablet. Video, time-stamped, from public property, fully legal. Want to see? Yes. Maria played the footage. Grainy night vision, but clear enough. Aides moving between rooms, switching IV bags, mixing pills carelessly. One aide checking her phone while pouring medications. David watched 30 seconds, then looked away. Jesus Christ. There's more, Maria said. I applied for a temporary nursing position here yesterday afternoon. They hired me on the spot. Didn't check my references, didn't verify my license. Just needed bodies. I start at 8 a.m. today. You're going undercover? Already am, Doctor. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work my shift, document everything, get access to medication records, and then I'm going to blow this wide open. Reaper stepped forward. Dr. Chen, your son is the bravest kid I've ever met. He did what 4 adults failed to do. He saw wrong and wouldn't stop until someone listened. Now we're listening. Question is, are you? David looked at Marcus. Really looked at him. Saw the dark circles under his eyes, the notebook clutched in his hands, the determination in his face. Show me the evidence, David said quietly. All of it. Marcus pulled out his phone. For 20 minutes, standing in a parking lot at dawn, Marcus showed his father everything. The recordings, the photos, the medication discrepancies, the chart tracking resident decline, the hidden camera footage from Rose's room. When it finished, David Chen was shaking. Why didn't you tell me? I tried, Dad. You said I was imagining things. I was wrong. God help me, I was so wrong. David looked at Iron Horse. What do you need from me? File emergency injunction blocking Rose's transfer. Get it to a judge before 8 a.m. That's when Sharon Vance said she's moving her. I'll call my lawyer, right now. Good. Second, we need you to request official medical records review. You're her son and a physician. You've got standing. Force them to produce every medication log, every doctor's order, every nurse's note. Done. Third, we need you to contact Adult Protective Services. Report suspected abuse. Your complaint will carry more weight than ours. David pulled out his phone, started dialing. Marcus felt something break loose in his chest. His father believed him. Finally. While David made calls, Reaper pulled Marcus aside. How you holding up, kid? Scared? What if we're too late? We're not. Your grandmother's alive right now because you acted. Remember that. Reaper, what if they already moved her? What if they snuck her out before you got here? They didn't. I counted every vehicle that left this property last night. 2 nurse shift changes.
one food delivery, one family visitor at 6:30. That's it. Your grandmother is still in room 22. A black SUV pulled into the parking lot. Sharon Vance stepped out, wearing a business suit, hair perfect, makeup flawless. She looked like she'd slept 8 hours. Probably had. She walked straight to Iron Horse. Mr. Blackwood, I'm asking you politely to leave. You're harassing my staff and frightening residents. We're on public property. First Amendment. You're creating a hostile environment. No, ma'am. We're creating an accountable environment.
Big difference. Sharon's smile was ice. I've called Sheriff Garrett. He's on his way. Good. Save me a phone call. He'll arrest you for trespassing. We'll see. David finished his call, walked over. Director Vance, I'm Dr. David Chen. Rose Chen is my mother. I'm revoking consent for her transfer to Nevada, effective immediately. Sharon's expression didn't flicker. Dr. Chen, we discussed this. Your mother needs specialized care we can't provide here. Then provide it here. Hire specialists. I'll pay for it. It's not about money. It's about appropriate level of care. Then let's talk about appropriate care. Why are you giving my mother haloperidol instead of lisinopril? Sharon blinked. First crack in the armor. I don't know what you're talking about. Wrong medications, Director Vance. Sedatives instead of blood pressure medication. You want to explain that? If there's been a medication error, I'll investigate immediately. There's been 42 medication errors, one for each resident in this facility. That's absurd. Is it? Because I'm requesting immediate access to all medication records. State law gives me that right as both family member and physician. Sharon's jaw tightened. You'll need to submit a formal written request. Already did. Sent it to your office at 0530. Should be in your email right now. She pulled out her phone, checked. Her face went rigid. You have 24 hours to comply, David continued. If you don't, I'm filing formal complaint with the Montana Board of Medical Examiners. Your facility license will be suspended pending investigation. You can't! I absolutely can. And I'm calling the Department of Public Health and Human Services, Adult Protective Services, reporting suspected systematic abuse. Based on what evidence? Based on my son's 6-week investigation and this morning's video documentation of medication protocol violations. Sharon looked at Marcus for the first time. Really looked at him. You little... Choose your next words carefully, Iron Horse said quietly. That's a child. A child who's trying to save his grandmother's life. Sheriff Wade Garrett's patrol car pulled up. The sheriff stepped out. 60 years old, overweight, moving slow. He looked at the 87 motorcycles and his face went red. What the hell is this? Morning, Sheriff, Iron Horse said. Peaceful assembly. First Amendment. We're on public property. You're blocking traffic. No, sir. Check County Road 7. Traffic's flowing fine. We're not blocking anything. Garrett looked at Sharon. You want them gone? Yes. Then I need probable cause to remove them. What law are they breaking? They're intimidating my staff. How? By standing on a public sidewalk? Wade, they're clearly here to harass us. The sheriff's face darkened. Director Vance, I need you to be very careful right now. Because Dr. Chen just called me 20 minutes ago reporting suspected elder abuse. If I remove these people for exercising their constitutional rights while ignoring a physician's formal abuse complaint, that's going to look real bad in court. Sharon's composure cracked. These are baseless accusations from a child who's upset about his grandmother's decline. Are they? Garrett looked at David. Doctor, you stand by your complaint? Absolutely. I have documentation. Video evidence, recorded testimony, medication discrepancies, pattern of suspicious deaths. Do you want to see it, Sheriff? Garrett looked at Sharon. I need to investigate this. Wade, we've known each other 10 years, which is why I'm giving you a chance to cooperate voluntarily before I get a warrant. Show me your medication logs, right now. I need to consult with legal counsel. That's your right. But understand, the moment you lawyer up, this becomes official. State investigators get involved. Probably federal too, since Medicare fraud is involved. Your call, Sharon. For 5 seconds, nobody moved. Then Sharon said, "Follow me." Inside Evergreen, everything looked pristine. Soft music, fresh flowers, smiling staff. The perfect facade. Sharon led them to her office, pulled up records on her computer. Here, medication logs for all residents, last 30 days. David leaned over her shoulder, scrolled. His face got darker with each passing second. These are falsified. Excuse me? Look at the timestamps. Medications documented as administered at 0800, 1200, 1800. Perfect intervals. Every single day. Every single resident. Nobody's ever late. Nobody ever refuses. Nobody ever has nausea or contraindications. This isn't medical documentation. This is fiction. My nurses are very punctual. Your nurses are liars. David pulled out his phone, showed the hidden camera footage from Rose's room. This is from 3 days ago. Your log shows medications given at 0800. This video shows the aide entering my mother's room at 0843. She doesn't check ID, doesn't verify medications, just dumps pills in a cup and walks out. Sharon watched the video. I'll discipline that nurse. One nurse? Sharon, this is systematic. Look at your own data. 42 residents. Only 4 medication refusals documented in 30 days. That's statistically impossible. Garrett leaned in. Doctor's right. I've seen enough medical records to know what real documentation looks like. This is too clean. My staff follows protocol. Then let's test that. Maria Santos stepped forward. I start work here in 2 hours. I'm going to document everything I see. Every medication error, every protocol violation, every falsified record. And at the end of my shift, I'm going to compile it into a formal nursing report and submit it to the state board. Sharon stood. You're not working here. I'm terminating your employment effective immediately. On what grounds? You're clearly biased, working with these people to manufacture evidence. I applied yesterday before I'd ever heard of this situation. You hired me based on my credentials. Now you're firing me for doing my job correctly? That's retaliation. That's another violation. Garrett pulled out his radio. I need backup at Evergreen Senior Living. And get me a state investigator from DPHHS. We've got a situation. Sharon's hands clenched. This is harassment. No, ma'am. This is investigation. And it's just getting started. David's phone rang. He answered, listened, his face going white. When? How long ago? He hung up, looked at Garrett. That was Evergreen's night nurse supervisor. She just quit. Said she can't watch this anymore. And she told me something. The Korean War vet who died yesterday, Skip Patterson, he didn't die peacefully in his sleep. What happened? Garrett asked. He coded cardiac arrest. They attempted resuscitation for 4 minutes, then stopped, declared him dead at 02:15. That's standard procedure for DNR patients. He wasn't DNR. His daughter confirmed it last night. She's got his advance directives, full code, full resuscitation. The room went silent. They let him die, Maria whispered. They let a veteran die because it was cheaper than treating him. Sharon's face was stone. That's a serious accusation without proof. The proof is in your own records, David said. Skip Patterson was on day 89 of his stay. Medicare reimbursement drops significantly after 90 days. You've got a pattern. 4 deaths, all between day 87 and day 93. That's not coincidence. Garrett's radio crackled. Sheriff, state investigator is en route. ETA 30 minutes. Copy that. Garrett looked at Sharon. Director Vance, I'm detaining you for questioning. You're not under arrest, but I need you to come to the station voluntarily. I'm not going anywhere without my lawyer. That's fine, but you're not leaving this building until the state investigator arrives. Clear? Sharon pulled out her phone. I'm calling Richard, my brother. He's CEO of Golden Sunset Care Corporation. You're making a massive mistake, Sheriff. Maybe, but I'd rather make a mistake being careful than make a mistake letting people die. Outside, the 87 bikers still stood watch. Morning sun rising. Pinewood Falls waking up. People driving past, staring at the motorcycles, wondering what was happening. Marcus stood with Reaper. Is it over? No, kid. It's just starting. But we've got momentum now. Your father believes you. The sheriff's investigating. State's getting involved. You did it. I didn't do anything. You did. Wrong. You gathered evidence. You refused to quit. You found us. All I did was show up. Reaper gripped Marcus's shoulder. Never forget that. The hardest part wasn't the investigation. It was the 6 weeks you spent alone, documenting everything, trying to make adults listen. That took real courage. A car pulled up. A woman in her 50s stepped out, face ravaged with grief. She walked straight to Garrett. I'm Jennifer Patterson, Skip's daughter. I drove all night from Seattle. Where's my father? Garrett's expression softened. Ma'am, I'm sorry. He passed away yesterday. I know. They called me, said it was peaceful, natural. But it wasn't, was it? We're investigating. He wasn't DNR, Sheriff. I have his paperwork. He wanted full code, full treatment. They let him die because it was cheaper than keeping him alive past 90 days. Her voice broke. My father survived the Chosin Reservoir. He survived 50 winters in Korea carrying wounded Marines through snow. And he died in a Montana nursing home because someone decided his life wasn't profitable anymore. She pulled out a folder. I'm a federal prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Western District of Washington, and I'm going to destroy everyone involved in this, starting right now. Garrett took the folder. Ma'am, I understand you're grieving. I'm not grieving yet, Sheriff. I'm working. Grief comes later. Right now, I'm building a case. Jennifer looked at the bikers, at Marcus, at David. Who's got evidence? Marcus raised his hand. I do. Show me. Everything. For the next 90 minutes, sitting in Evergreen's parking lot, Marcus showed a federal prosecutor everything he'd compiled. Jennifer asked questions, took notes, photographed everything with her phone. When Marcus finished, Jennifer looked at him with something like awe. You're 12? Yes, ma'am. You just handed me the foundation for a federal prosecution. Medicare fraud, elder abuse, wrongful death, conspiracy. This is enough to get warrants for all 23 Golden Sunset facilities nationwide. Will it bring your father back? Jennifer's eyes filled. No, but it'll save everyone else's father, mother, grandmother. That's what my dad would want. She stood. I need to make calls. Where's the nearest FBI field office? Great Falls, Garrett said. 2 hours north. Get me a conference room. I need to brief federal agents. Now.
At 9:47 a.m., a black sedan pulled up. 2 men in suits stepped out. FBI. Jennifer met them, spoke quietly, handed them documents. At 10:15 a.m., more vehicles arrived. Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, Adult Protective Services, State Medical Investigators. At 10:43 a.m., the first news van appeared. Local station. Then another, and another. By 11 a.m., Evergreen Senior Living was surrounded by law enforcement, federal agents, state investigators, and media. And 87 bikers stood witness to all of it. Sharon Vance was led out in handcuffs at 11:27 a.m. Not arrested, detained for questioning.
But the cameras caught it. The footage would be on every news station by evening. Marcus watched her go. Felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, just exhaustion. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number.
"This is Rose Chen's room phone. The nurse let me use it. Marcus, baby, what's happening? There are police everywhere."
Marcus typed back, "You're safe, Grandma. We're saving you. I love you."
"Love you too. You're a good boy."
He showed the text to his father. David Chen put his arm around his son and cried for the first time in 3 years. Jennifer Patterson didn't wait for formal briefings. At 11:34 a.m., she walked into Evergreen's main lobby with 2 FBI agents and a warrant application on her phone screen.
"I need access to Skip Patterson's medical records. All of them. Now."
The facility administrator, a nervous man named Carl Winters who'd been hiding in his office all morning, stammered,
"We need corporate approval for—"
"Your corporate office is about to be raided by federal agents in 8 states simultaneously. I've got assistant U.S. attorneys in Seattle, Denver, Phoenix, and Chicago all filing identical warrant applications. Golden Sunset Care Corporation is done. Question is whether you go down with them or cooperate." Carl's hands shook.
"What do you need?"
"Every record. Every resident who died in the last 12 months. Medication logs, financial records, Medicare billing. And I need Skip Patterson's complete file within the next 10 minutes or I'm charging you with obstruction."
"I'll get them."
Marcus watched through the window as Carl practically ran to the records room. His father stood beside him, phone pressed to his ear, talking to Rose's cardiologist about emergency transfer to Montana Regional Hospital. Reaper appeared at Marcus's shoulder. "Kid, we've got a problem." "What?" "Judge denied your father's injunction. Said there wasn't sufficient evidence of immediate harm. Sharon Vance's lawyer convinced him this was family drama, not medical emergency." Marcus's stomach dropped.
"They can still move Grandma?"
"They're going to try. I just intercepted a text between Sharon and the transport company. They've got an ambulance scheduled for 3 p.m. They're moving her today despite everything." David overheard, ended his call. "They can't. I revoked consent." Sharon's arguing that consent was given in writing, and verbal revocation isn't legally binding without court order. Her lawyer's good. He's using procedure against us. "Then I'll get another judge." "You've got 3 hours." Reaper looked at Iron Horse, who'd joined them. "Boss, we need to talk strategy." The bikers formed a circle in the parking lot, Marcus and his father included. Jennifer Patterson, too, fresh off her phone call with FBI. Iron Horse spoke first. "Here's our situation. Federal investigation is moving, but it's going to take days to execute warrants across 8 states. State investigation is moving faster, but Sharon's lawyer is fighting every request, and in 3 hours, they're putting Rose on an ambulance and disappearing her into their Nevada facility, where we'll never see her again."
"Can't we physically block the ambulance?"
one biker asked.
"That's kidnapping, felony. We'd all go to prison and Rose still ends up in Nevada."
Maria Santos stepped forward.
"I've got another way. I start my shift at 2 p.m. I'm officially an Evergreen employee. I've got badge access. I can monitor Rose's room, document any transfer attempt, and if they try to move her against medical advice, I can refuse to participate as her attending nurse. They'll fire you. Let them. I'll have documentation of refusing unsafe patient transfer.
That's protected activity. Jennifer nodded.
That could work, but we need backup plan. If they override Maria's objection and move Rose anyway, we need legal basis to stop the ambulance en route.
Traffic stop? Garrett suggested. I could pull them over for equipment violation.
On what grounds?
I'll find grounds. David shook his head.
This is insane. We're talking about intercepting an ambulance. There has to be a legal way. There is, Jennifer said. I can file emergency federal protective order. Argue that Rose is material witness in federal fraud investigation and moving her constitutes witness tampering. Will a judge grant it? If I can get to the right judge in the next 2 hours. But I'm in Montana. I don't know the federal bench here. I need someone local who knows which judge will move fast.
I know someone, Garrett said. Judge Patricia Morales, Federal District Court. She's former military, Purple Heart from Iraq. If we can prove Rose is a veteran being moved to silence her testimony, Judge Morales will issue the order. Then that's our play. Iron Horse looked around the circle. Maria works her shift, documents everything. Jennifer files for federal protection. Sheriff stands by to enforce it. Rest of us maintain presence here. We don't leave. We don't blink. We make damn sure they know we're watching every move. Marcus felt his chest tighten. What if it doesn't work? What if the judge says no and they take her anyway? Reaper met his eyes. Then we stop them another way. How? You don't need to know that yet. Just trust us. At 2:03 p.m., Maria Santos walked into Evergreen wearing scrubs and her new employee badge. She went straight to the nurse's station, checked the assignment board. Rose Chen was listed under her patient load. Perfect. She knocked on room 22. Mrs. Chen? I'm Maria. I'm your nurse today. Rose sat in her wheelchair, looking clearer than she had in weeks. Someone had reduced her sedation, probably damage control. Make her look better for the investigation. Where's Marcus? Rose asked. He's safe, outside with his father. They're working to protect you. Protect me from what? Maria pulled up a chair, sat eye level. Mrs. Chen, I'm going to be very direct with you. This facility has been giving you wrong medications, sedating you instead of treating your actual conditions. They're doing it to other veterans too. Your grandson discovered it, and he's trying to save your life. Rose blinked slowly, processing. Marcus found out? He documented everything for 6 weeks. He's the reason we're here. Smart boy. Like his grandfather. I need to ask you something. Do you remember serving in Vietnam? Of course. Army Nurse Corps. Field hospital near Da Nang. Do you remember saving wounded Marines during an attack? Rose's eyes focused, sharp, present. February 1968. Tet Offensive. Our hospital took mortar fire. We had 14 wounded Marines. I got them to the evac point. Got hit myself, but we all made it out. One of those Marines was James Blackwood Sr. Jimmy Blackwood, yes. Kid from Montana. Took shrapnel in his chest. I kept him breathing until the chopper arrived. His son is outside right now, leading 87 bikers who came to protect you. Jimmy died in 2003, but before he died, he told his son about the nurse who saved his life. Today, his son is returning the favor. Tears streaked down Rose's face. Jimmy had a son? Named him James Jr. Calls himself Iron Horse now, and he's not leaving until you're safe. Rose gripped Maria's hand. "I don't want to go to Nevada. Please, don't let them take me." "I won't. I promise." Maria pulled out her phone. "I'm going to record a statement from you, medical testimony. If they try to move you, we'll use this to prove you're being transferred against your will. Can you do that?" "Yes." Maria hit record. "State your name for the record." "Rosemarie Chen, Lieutenant, retired, United States Army Nurse Corps." "Are you being transferred to Nevada today?" "They told me I'm leaving at 3 o'clock. I said I don't want to go. They said it's already arranged." "Did anyone ask your consent?" "No. They just told me to pack my things." "How do you feel physically right now?" "Clearer than I've been in weeks. Less foggy. I can think again." "When did you start feeling clearer?" "This morning, after all the police came. I think they stopped giving me the pills that made me sleep all the time." Maria stopped recording. "Perfect. This is evidence of coercion and proof they were sedating you. I'm sending this to your son right now." She texted the video to David. His response came back in seconds. "Jennifer's filing the protective order now. Judge Morales reviewing it. Stay with Mom." At 2:47 p.m., an ambulance pulled into Evergreen's loading area. 2 paramedics stepped out. Not local. Out-of-state plates. Nevada. Iron Horse saw them, pulled out his radio. "We've got transport arriving, 13 minutes early." Every biker moved closer to the building. Not threatening, just present. Inside, Maria heard the announcement over the intercom. "Transportation for Rose Chen, room 22. She stepped into the hallway, met the paramedics at the nurse's station. "I'm Mrs. Chen's attending nurse. I can't release her for transport." The lead paramedic, a man in his 40s with a clipboard, frowned. "We've got transfer orders signed by facility medical director." "I've got patient testimony refusing transfer. She's not going." "Ma'am, we don't need patient consent. We need facility authorization." "You need both. This is a competent adult. She has the right to refuse." "The paperwork says she's got dementia, incompetent to make medical decisions." "The paperwork is wrong. I just spoke with her. She's oriented to person, place, and time. She's coherent." "And she's explicitly refusing." Carl Winters appeared. "Nurse Santos, you're overstepping. We have legal authority to transport." "Not if the patient refuses, and not if she's a material witness in a federal investigation. Moving her constitutes witness tampering." "You've been here 4 hours. You don't know what you're talking about." "I know federal law, and I know patient rights. You move her, you're breaking both." Carl's face reddened. "You're fired. Turn in your badge." "Fine. But I'm not leaving this room until federal protective order is served or patient consents. Your choice." The paramedics looked at each other. "We're not getting in the middle of this. We need clear authorization or we're leaving." Carl pulled out his phone, called someone, spoke quietly, hung up. "Sharon's lawyer is bringing paperwork proving we have legal authority. It'll be here in 20 minutes. You're both staying until then." Maria texted Iron Horse. "They're waiting for legal docs. We need that federal order now." At 3:04 p.m., Jennifer Patterson burst out of the federal courthouse in Great Falls, phone pressed to her ear. "Judge granted it. Emergency protective order. Rose Chen is federal witness. Moving her is obstruction of justice. I'm sending the order to Sheriff Garrett now." Garrett received it on his phone, printed it at the station, drove to Evergreen at 80 miles per hour. He arrived at 3:19 p.m., walked into the facility with the order in hand. "Carl Winters, you're served. Federal protective order. Rose Chen cannot be moved without federal permission. Any attempt to transfer her is violation of federal law." Carl read the order, went pale. "This is dated 15 minutes ago." "Clock starts when you're served, which is right now. Call off the ambulance." The paramedics didn't wait. They walked out, drove away. Carl stood frozen. Sharon's going to kill me. Sharon's going to have bigger problems, Garrett said, because I've got a warrant to search facility records. State investigator is executing it right now. In the records room, the state medical investigator, a woman named Dr. Ellen Wright, went through files with methodical precision. She pulled Skip Patterson's chart, spread it on the table. "This is falsified," she said to the FBI agent beside her. "Look at the medication administration times. Perfect 8-hour intervals for 6 weeks. Nobody's that consistent. Real nursing documentation has variations. Delayed doses, refused doses. This was backdated." She pulled another file. Same pattern. And another. They created fictional records to cover up neglect. The FBI agent photographed everything. "We need to know how many residents this affected." "All of them, look." Dr. Wright pulled 42 files. Every single resident has identical documentation patterns. This isn't individual nurse error. This is facility-wide fraud. She opened a locked filing cabinet. Found a folder labeled Corporate Communications, Confidential. Inside were emails, dozens of them, between Sharon Vance and Golden Sunset corporate office. The FBI agent read one aloud. Email dated September 15th from Richard Vance, CEO. Subject, maximizing revenue. Quote, "All facilities must maintain 90-day average length of stay. Residents who exceed 90 days without showing improvement should be transferred to lower care facilities or transitioned to comfort care. We cannot sustain profitability with long-term high-acuity patients." Dr. Wright read another. October 3rd, Sharon to Richard. "We have 4 residents approaching day 90, Patterson, Kowalski, Rodriguez, Chen Sr. All require expensive medications and intensive care. Recommend transfer or comfort care protocols." "Comfort care means letting them die," the FBI agent said. Look at the response. Richard to Sharon, October 4th. "Approved. Initiate comfort care. Document as patient choice. Minimize family contact during transition." The agent pulled out his phone. "I need to call Jennifer. This is conspiracy to commit murder." At 3:47 p.m., Marcus stood with his father outside room 22. Inside, Rose was sitting up in bed, Maria beside her, both waiting for the next move. David's phone rang. Jennifer. He answered on speaker. "I've got it," she said. "Emails proving corporate policy to hasten deaths after 90 days. Instructions to falsify records. Evidence of 23 facilities participating in the scheme. This isn't just Sharon. This is the entire corporation." "How many victims?" Jennifer's voice broke. "Preliminary count is 47 deaths across all facilities in the last 18 months. All veterans. All within 5 days of hitting 90-day mark." Marcus felt sick. 47 people? 47 families destroyed for profit. But Marcus, because of you, that number stops here. No more. "We've got enough to arrest Sharon, her brother Richard, and every facility director in the Golden Sunset Network. FBI is executing simultaneous raids in 8 states as we speak." "What about Grandma?" "She's safe. Federal protective order stands. She's going to Montana Regional Hospital tonight for full medical evaluation. Real treatment. No more sedatives. No more lies." Marcus's knees gave out. His father caught him. "You did it, kid," Jennifer said softly. "You saved her. And you saved every veteran in those other facilities. They're all being evaluated tonight, moved to safe locations, given real care." At 4:12 p.m., Sharon Vance was arrested in the sheriff's station. Handcuffs, Miranda rights, perp walk past news cameras. Her lawyer screamed about false arrest.
The charges read like a horror story. 47 counts of negligent homicide, Medicare fraud exceeding $40 million, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, elder abuse, witness tampering. At 5:30 p.m.,
FBI agents in Chicago arrested Richard Vance at Golden Sunset corporate headquarters. They seized servers, froze accounts, locked down every facility in the network. At 6:15 p.m., Rose Chen was loaded into a real ambulance, certified paramedics, proper medical equipment. Maria riding with her, David following in his car, Marcus beside him. The 87 bikers formed an escort, motorcycles in front, motorcycles behind, lights flashing, engines rumbling. People in Pinewood Falls lined the streets, watched the procession pass. Some waved, some saluted. One old man in a Vietnam veteran's cap stood at attention, hand over heart. At Montana Regional Hospital, Rose was admitted to cardiac care unit. Real doctors, real nurses, real medications. Dr. Hammond, her longtime physician, was waiting. He examined her for 40 minutes, ran tests, reviewed Maria's documentation. When he emerged, he looked shaken. She was 72 hours from death. Another 3 days on those sedatives, and her heart would have given out. Whoever stopped this, whoever figured it out, you saved her life. David put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. My son figured it out. He's 12 years old, and he saved his grandmother when 4 adults failed. Dr. Hammond knelt in front of Marcus. You're a hero. You know that? Marcus shook his head. I just didn't want to lose my grandma. That's what makes you a hero. You loved someone enough to fight when nobody believed you. At 8:45 p.m., Jennifer Patterson held a press conference on the hospital steps. Every news station in Montana carried it live. Today, a 12-year-old boy exposed the largest elder care fraud scheme in American history. 47 veterans died because a corporation valued profit over people. But because of Marcus Chen's courage, because of his refusal to stay silent, justice is coming. Federal charges have been filed. Arrests have been made, and every veteran in Golden Sunset facilities is being moved to safe care tonight. She paused, composure cracking. My father was one of the 47. He survived Korea. He survived 50 years of nightmares and survivor's guilt. And he died in a nursing home that saw him as a dollar sign instead of a hero. I can't bring him back, but I can make sure this never happens again, and I will spend every day of my career prosecuting the people who did this. A reporter shouted, What about the boy? Can we talk to Marcus? Marcus is with his grandmother, where he belongs. But I'll say this. We have systems designed to protect the vulnerable. Social workers, doctors, police, regulators. Every one of those systems failed. A child succeeded where institutions didn't. That should terrify us. And it should inspire us. Because if a 12-year-old with a notebook can expose this, imagine what we could do if we actually listened to people crying for help. At 11:27 p.m., Marcus sat beside his grandmother's hospital bed. She was asleep, breathing steady, heart monitor beeping regular rhythm, IV fluids running, real medications. Reaper appeared in the doorway, knocked softly. Hey, kid. Hey. Your dad says you haven't eaten since breakfast. Not hungry. Reaper pulled up a chair. Saturday. You know what I learned in Vietnam? The hardest part isn't the fighting. It's the waiting after. When the adrenaline stops and you realize how close you came to losing everything. I keep thinking, what if you hadn't believed me? What if I'd gone home instead of approaching you? But you didn't. You took the chance. And because you did, your grandmother is alive.
47 other grandparents aren't.
No, they're not. And that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt for a long time, but Marcus, you can't carry their deaths. They died before you even knew this was happening. What you can carry is the lives you saved. Every veteran in those facilities tonight is getting real care because of you. Marcus wiped his eyes. I just wanted to help my grandma. That's how it always starts. You want to save one person, but courage is contagious. You lit a fire. Other people caught it. Jennifer, Maria, your dad, me, all the brothers outside. We all caught your fire. What happens now? Now you rest. Your grandmother heals. The legal system does its job. And you get to be 12 years old again. I don't feel 12 anymore. I know. That's the cost of doing the right thing. You grow up faster than you should. But you also become the kind of man who stands up when everyone else sits down. Your grandfather would be proud. Rose stirred, opened her eyes, saw Marcus and smiled. There's my hero. Grandma, you're awake. Doctor says I'm going to be fine. Thanks to you. Her voice was clear, strong. Marcus, come here. He moved closer. She took his hand. Your grandfather used to tell me about the day he almost died in Vietnam. He said a corpsman kept him alive for 6 hours until the helicopter came. That corpsman wouldn't give up, wouldn't let him quit, wouldn't accept death as an answer. Rose squeezed Marcus's hand. You're that corpsman, baby. You wouldn't let me die. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. I was scared nobody would believe me. But you tried anyway. That's real courage, not the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. She looked at Reaper. And you're one of Jimmy Blackwood's friends? His son, ma'am. My father talked about you until the day he died. Said you were the bravest person he ever met. Jimmy was a good kid. I'm glad he made it home. I'm glad he had a family. He had a good life because of you. And now his brothers made sure you get to have one too. Rose closed her eyes, smiled. Tell them thank you. Tell them Rose Chen remembers. And tell them Marines aren't the only ones who don't leave people behind. 3 days after Rose was admitted to Montana Regional, Marcus sat in a conference room with his father, Jennifer Patterson, and 5 other families. Each one had lost someone at a Golden Sunset facility. Each one believed it was natural until the news broke. Jennifer stood at the head of the table, files spread everywhere. I need to prepare you for what's coming. The preliminary investigation found 47 suspicious deaths. That number is now 73. A woman gasped. 73? FBI expanded the search parameters, went back 3 years instead of 18 months, found patterns at all 23 facilities, some worse than others. Evergreen was actually middle of the pack. Marcus felt sick. How is that possible? Corporate directive. Golden Sunset Care Corporation had a profitability model. Residents who exceeded 90 days without improvement were categorized as resource drain. Internal emails use that exact phrase. They had a systematic process for reducing what they called extended stay losses. An older man, maybe 70, slammed his hand on the table. My wife died at their Phoenix facility. They told me she had a stroke. Natural. Peaceful. Are you telling me they killed her? I'm telling you the Arizona medical examiner is exhuming her body, along with 16 others from that facility. We need to know what really happened. She was only there 68 days. Jennifer flipped through files. What was her name? Patricia. Patricia Mendoza. Jennifer found the file, read. Her face went pale. Mr. Mendoza, I'm so sorry. Your wife's file shows medication errors starting at day 65. She was given insulin despite not being diabetic. 3 separate doses over 4 days. The man's voice broke. What does that mean? Insulin in non-diabetic patients causes hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, leads to confusion, seizures, potentially coma. If severe enough, it can cause stroke symptoms. They murdered her. We're working to prove that, but yes, sir, I believe they did. Marcus watched as the man collapsed in his chair, sobbing. His daughter put her arms around him. 3 years of thinking his wife died naturally, destroyed in 30 seconds. David spoke quietly. Jennifer, how many of these families don't know yet? How many people think their loved ones died of old age? We've identified 73 suspicious deaths. We've only contacted 11 families so far. The rest don't know we're investigating. You need to tell them. We will, but I need to build the case first. I need evidence strong enough that when we tell them their mother or father or spouse was murdered, we can also tell them someone's going to prison for it. A woman in her 40s raised her hand. I'm Christine Rodriguez. My father died at Evergreen in July. Marcus, your grandmother knew him. They played chess together. Marcus nodded. Mr. Rodriguez. I remember. He was nice. He taught me chess when I was your age. Christine's voice shook. He was 79, Vietnam vet, Bronze Star. He went into Evergreen for hip surgery recovery. 6 weeks later, he was dead. They said heart failure. Natural. He was old. These things happen. Did they give you his medical records? Jennifer asked. I requested them. Got a bill for copying fees. $200 for 300 pages. I couldn't afford it. I was planning to pay when I got my tax refund. But then I saw the news about Evergreen, and I thought maybe Dad's death wasn't so natural after all. Jennifer pulled out a folder. I've got his records. FBI seized everything. Want to know what I found? Christine nodded, tears already falling. Your father was given heparin, blood thinner. Post-surgical, that's normal. But the dosing was wrong. Triple the prescribed amount. He developed internal bleeding. They documented it as bruising from falls. Never adjusted the medication. He bled out internally over 2 weeks. Christine made a sound like she'd been stabbed. I'm sorry, Jennifer said. I'm so sorry. But I need you to know the truth. Your father didn't die because he was old. He died because someone made a choice that profit mattered more than his life. The room was silent except for crying. Marcus felt his father's hand on his shoulder, steadying him. Because this was what Marcus had uncovered, not just Grandma Rose's abuse, but 73 murders. 73 families destroyed. Jennifer continued. The trial is going to be hard. Defense will argue these were tragic mistakes, understaffed facilities, overworked nurses, honest errors. We need to prove it was systematic, intentional. That means we need witnesses, people willing to testify about what they saw. I'll testify, Christine said immediately. So will I, said Patricia Mendoza's husband. One by one, every family agreed. Jennifer looked at Marcus. I need you too. You're the one who documented everything. You're the one who proved it wasn't isolated incidents, but a pattern. Defense is going to attack your credibility, call you a confused child, claim you misunderstood what you saw. Can you handle that? Marcus thought about Grandma Rose, about Mr. Rodriguez teaching him chess, about 47 people who died before he figured it out. I can handle it. You'll be on the stand for hours. Defense attorney will try to make you cry, make you doubt yourself, Make the jury think you're just a kid who got confused. I'm not confused. I know what I saw. David squeezed his shoulder. I'll be right there. Every second. Jennifer nodded. Okay. We prep starting next week. But first, there's something else you need to know. She pulled out another file, thicker than the others. We found additional evidence at the corporate office. Golden Sunset wasn't just hastening deaths. They were profiting from the bodies. The room went dead silent. What does that mean? David asked. Organ harvesting. Tissue donation. Elderly patients don't qualify for most organ transplants, but their tissues can still be used. Corneas, skin grafts, bone, heart valves for research. There's a legal market for this. Families consent, tissues are donated to research or transplant, everyone benefits. But Golden Sunset was obtaining consent through forgery. Families never agreed. In some cases, families explicitly refused. Didn't matter. Golden Sunset had contracts with tissue banks. They were paid per donation. Anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 per body. Someone vomited. Actually vomited. The man who'd lost his wife in Phoenix ran to the trash can. Marcus felt dizzy. They sold parts of dead people. They harvested tissues without consent and sold them for profit. We found invoices. 41 residents over 3 years. Total profit, $470,000. Christine Rodriguez stood up, chair scraping. Did they take anything from my father? Jennifer checked the file. Yes, corneas and heart valves. I'm sorry. Christine walked out. Her sobs echoed in the hallway. David was shaking. This is beyond elder abuse. This is desecration. This is how sociopaths think, Jennifer said. They saw vulnerable people as inventory. Alive, they generated Medicare revenue. Dead, they generated tissue bank revenue. Every stage was monetized. Does Sharon Vance know about this? Sharon signed the tissue bank contracts. Richard negotiated the rates. They both knew. They both profited. Marcus couldn't breathe. He stood up, walked to the window. His father followed. Marcus, you okay? I thought I understood what they were doing. But this is worse than I imagined. You're 12 years old. You shouldn't have to know this kind of evil exists. But it does, and I found it. And now I have to help stop it. David pulled him into a hug. I'm so proud of you. And so sorry you had to carry this alone for so long. I wasn't alone, not after I found Reaper. Speaking of which, he's waiting outside. Says the brothers want to meet with you. Marcus wiped his eyes. Now? When you're ready. 10 minutes later, Marcus walked into the hospital cafeteria. 87 bikers filled half the room. Regular people gave them wide berth. Nervous glances. Security guard hovering near the entrance. Iron Horse stood when Marcus entered. Brothers, this is Marcus Chen, the kid who started everything. Every biker stood. Synchronous, military precision. Then they applauded. Marcus froze. He didn't know what to do. Iron Horse gestured to an empty chair. Sit. We need to talk about what happens next. Marcus sat. Reaper on his right, Maria Santos on his left. You've been through hell, Iron Horse said. Most adults couldn't handle what you've seen, what you've learned. We want to make sure you're okay. I'm fine. No, you're not. And that's okay. Nobody's fine after this. But we're worried about you. You're carrying weight a kid shouldn't carry. What choice do I have? You've got choices now. The investigation is moving. FBI has everything they need. Jennifer's building the case. Your part is done. She needs me to testify. And you will. But after that, you need to be a kid again. You need to go back to school, see your friends, do normal 12-year-old things. Marcus shook his head. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see Mr. Rodriguez and the 46 other people I didn't save in time. Maria spoke gently. Marcus, you didn't fail those people. The system failed them. You're the one who stopped it from claiming more victims. But if I'd figured it out sooner, then what? You're 12. You did everything possible, more than possible. You did what trained professionals missed. Reaper leaned forward. Kid, I've been where you are. Different circumstances, but same guilt. My sister died in 2019. I knew something was wrong. I questioned the facility. They gave me the runaround. I eventually gave up, convinced myself I was overreacting. She died 3 weeks later. I've spent 5 years thinking if I'd pushed harder, she'd still be alive. How do you live with it? By making sure it doesn't happen to someone else. By keeping the promise I made at her grave. That's why I believed you. Because I failed my sister. I wasn't going to fail your grandmother. Iron Horse pulled out a leather vest, smaller than the others, kid-sized. It had patches, Hell's Angels, Montana, and a custom patch that read, Honorary Brother. We took a vote, Iron Horse said. Unanimous. You're family now. Not full membership, you're too young for that. But honorary brother. You wear this, you've got 87 people who will answer when you call. Understood? Marcus stared at the vest. I don't know what to say. Say you'll take care of yourself. Say you'll talk to someone when the nightmares start. Say you'll remember that you're not alone. Marcus took the vest, put it on. It fit perfectly. The bikers applauded again. This time Marcus managed a small smile. 2 weeks later, Sharon Vance sat in a federal holding cell awaiting trial. Her lawyer had negotiated 3 times, each offer rejected. The prosecution wanted her testimony against Richard and the board of directors. She refused. Until the day Jennifer visited her cell. I've got new charges to add, Jennifer said through the glass partition. 41 counts of unlawful tissue harvesting, desecration of human remains. Each count carries up to 15 years. Sharon's mask finally cracked. You can't prove I knew about the tissue program. I've got your signature on the contracts, your emails approving individual harvests, your accounting records showing profit distributions. You knew, Sharon. You profited. Richard said it was legal. Then testify to that. Tell the jury your brother assured you it was legitimate. Cooperate and maybe you get 20 years instead of life. I want immunity. Jennifer laughed. You murdered 73 people and sold their body parts? You think I'm offering immunity? I want a deal. Here's your deal. Plead guilty to all counts. Testify against Richard and the board. Name every person who knew about the systematic abuse. In exchange, I'll recommend concurrent sentencing. You'll die in prison, but you might get 1 chance at parole when you're 85. That's not a deal. That's the only deal you're getting. Think about it. Sharon thought about it for 6 days. On the 7th day, she signed the cooperation agreement. Her testimony broke the case wide open. Richard Vance was arrested on his yacht in the Bahamas, extradited, charged with 73 counts of second-degree murder, Medicare fraud totaling $89 million, conspiracy, racketeering. The board of directors followed, 12 people total, all facing life sentences. Golden Sunset Care Corporation filed for bankruptcy on November 3rd. Assets seized, facilities closed or sold. 147 employees fired. 973 residents relocated to other facilities with proper oversight.
The settlement fund exceeded $200 million. Marcus testified on November 17th. Federal courthouse. Packed gallery. News cameras outside. The defense attorney was exactly what Jennifer predicted. Aggressive, dismissive, trying to make Marcus look like a confused child. Mr. Chen, you're 12 years old, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're not a doctor?
No, sir.
Not a nurse?
No, sir.
You have no medical training whatsoever?
I have first aid merit badge from Boy Scouts, and I researched medications online.
Online research, I see.
And based on this online research, you concluded that trained medical professionals were murdering patients? Based on evidence, recordings, photos, documentation. The online research just helped me understand what the evidence meant. But you're not qualified to interpret medical evidence, are you? I'm qualified to recognize when medication bottles don't match prescriptions, when bruises look like finger marks, when people deteriorate faster than their diagnosis explains. You think you're smarter than doctors?
No, sir. I think I paid attention when doctors didn't.
Jennifer smiled. The defense attorney changed tactics. Your grandmother was declining before she entered Evergreen, wasn't she?
She had mild dementia, manageable, controlled with medication.
So she was already sick.
She was stable, walking, reading, living independently. 6 weeks after Evergreen, she was wheelchair-bound and barely conscious.
Isn't it possible her condition simply worsened naturally? Is it possible 73 people all worsened naturally at exactly 90 days? All at Golden Sunset facilities? All veterans? That's not possible. That's a pattern. The attorney paused, regrouped. You love your grandmother very much.
Yes, sir.
You'd do anything to protect her.
Yes, sir.
Even make up stories about abuse if you thought it would help. Marcus met his eyes.
I didn't make up anything. I documented the truth. I have recordings, time-stamped photos, medical records, 42 families confirming the same pattern. If I made it up, then all of them are lying too. And I don't think you want to stand in front of this jury and say 42 families are lying about their dead parents.
The gallery murmured. The judge called for order. The defense attorney sat down. Jennifer stood for redirect. Marcus, why did you start investigating Evergreen?
Because my grandmother was dying and nobody would listen when I said something was wrong.
What made you think something was wrong?
She changed too fast, and the staff gave different excuses every time I asked questions. That's what guilty people do. They can't keep their story straight.
What gave you the courage to keep investigating when adults told you to stop? Marcus thought about it.
My grandfather was a Marine. He used to say Marines don't leave anyone behind. I figured if that's true for Marines, it should be true for grandkids too.
The courtroom was silent.
No further questions, Jennifer said.
Marcus stepped down. His father was crying in the front row. Reaper gave him a thumbs up. Iron Horse nodded approval. That night, Rose Chen was released from the hospital. 2 months of recovery, physical therapy, proper medications. She could walk again, think clearly, remember things.
Marcus met her at the hospital entrance. She wore regular clothes, her own shoes. Her hair was styled. She looked like herself again. Ready to go home, Grandma?
More than ready.
They walked to the car together. No wheelchair, no walker. Just grandmother and grandson.
Marcus, I heard about your testimony today.
Did I do okay?
You did better than okay. You made your grandfather proud.
I wish he could have been here.
He was, baby. I know he was.
At home, the house was different. David had taken 2 weeks off work, hired a home health aide to help with Rose's care, set up a room on the first floor so she wouldn't have to climb stairs.
But Rose walked up the stairs anyway. "I'm not an invalid. I can handle stairs." That night, the three of them ate dinner together. First time in months. David cooked. Badly. Burned the chicken. Undercooked the rice. Nobody cared. Rose told stories about Vietnam, about the Marines she'd saved,
About being 23 years old and terrified and doing the job anyway. Marcus told her about the bikers, about Iron Horse and Reaper and Maria, about feeling scared but doing it anyway.
"That's the definition of courage," Rose said. "Not the absence of fear. Acting despite it." "Did you feel like that in Vietnam?" "Every single day. Terrified. But I had patients who needed me, so I did what needed doing." "That's what I tried to do." "And you succeeded. You saved my life, Marcus. But more than that, you saved hundreds of other people. Every veteran who was moved out of Golden Sunset facilities. Every family who now knows the truth. Every future resident who'll be protected by the laws they're going to pass because of this." David raised his glass of water. "To Marcus, the bravest person I know." They clinked glasses, and for the first time in 6 months, Marcus felt like maybe things would be okay. 6 months after Marcus testified, the verdicts came down.
Sharon Vance received 42 years. Richard Vance got life without parole. 11 board members received sentences ranging from 15 to 35 years. Not a single person walked free. Marcus watched the news coverage with his father and grandmother. Rose sat in her favorite chair knitting. She'd taken it up again during recovery. Said it kept her hands busy and her mind calm. "They're calling you a hero," Rose said without looking up from her needles. "Every channel. The boy who exposed elder care fraud." "I'm not a hero. I just didn't want to lose you." "That's what makes you a hero, baby. You loved someone enough to fight when nobody believed you." David muted the television. "Marcus, there's something we need to discuss. The settlement fund is being distributed. Families of victims are receiving compensation, and because you were instrumental in the investigation, Jennifer says you're entitled to a portion." "I don't want money. It's $240,000. Marcus blinked. "What?" "Whistleblower provision. Federal law. You exposed fraud, you receive a percentage of recovered funds. This is yours." "I don't need money. I need those people to be alive." Rose set down her knitting. "Marcus, listen to your father. This money isn't reward for what you did. It's acknowledgement that you gave up your childhood to save lives. You earned it." "What am I supposed to do with it?" David smiled. "Jennifer had a suggestion. She's working with the Montana chapter to create something. Wants to talk to you about it." 2 days later, Marcus sat in the Hells Angels clubhouse with Jennifer, Iron Horse, Reaper, and Maria Santos. The table was covered with legal documents and architectural plans. Jennifer spoke first. "We're establishing a foundation, the Rose Chen Elder Protection Foundation. Its mission is to prevent what happened at Golden Sunset from happening anywhere else." "How?" 3 programs. First, we're creating a national hotline, 24/7. Anyone who suspects elder abuse can call. They'll reach trained advocates, not voicemail, real people who listen and investigate. Iron Horse continued. Second, we're recruiting volunteers, veterans, bikers, retired nurses, anyone who wants to help. We're calling it the Guardian Network. These volunteers will visit facilities, monitor care, document problems, and report to authorities. Maria added, "Third, we're funding surprise inspections. State inspections are scheduled. Facilities know they're coming. They clean up, fake records, put on a show.
We're hiring independent medical investigators to do unannounced visits, real assessment of real conditions. Marcus looked at the plans. This is huge. It needs to be, Jennifer said. There are 15,000 nursing homes in America. We can't monitor all of them, but we can create a system that makes abuse harder to hide.
What does this have to do with my settlement money? Your money seeds the foundation. $240,000 covers startup costs, hotline infrastructure, legal fees, first-year operating budget. After that, we fundraise. But we need initial capital to launch.
You want all of it?
We want you to decide. It's your money. But this foundation could save thousands of lives. People like your grandmother. People like my father. Marcus thought about Mr. Rodriguez, about the 72 other victims, about future victims who didn't exist yet, but would if nobody stopped the next golden sunset. Take it, all of it. Marcus, think about this. That money could pay for college. College doesn't matter if grandparents are dying in facilities while families think everything's fine. Use the money. Build the foundation. Save people. Rose's voice came from behind him. She'd been standing in the doorway listening.
That's my grandson.
That's exactly what his grandfather would have done. The Rose Chen Elder Protection Foundation launched on March 15, 2025. Press conference at the Montana State Capitol. Governor present. Senator from Montana speaking. Families of victims standing together. Marcus stood at the podium, terrified. He'd testified in court, but that was different. This was choosing to speak, choosing to put himself out there.
My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 13 years old. 6 months ago, I watched my grandmother almost die because a corporation valued profit over people. I tried to get help. I went to police, to my school, to Adult Protective Services. Nobody listened. Not because they were bad people, but because the system is overwhelmed. Too many cases, too few resources. Too much trust in facilities that look good on paper.
He paused, breathed, continued.
This foundation exists because systems fail, but people don't have to.
Every volunteer who joins the Guardian Network is choosing to be the person I needed 6 months ago. Someone who listens, someone who investigates, someone who doesn't stop until the truth comes out. A reporter shouted, "Marcus, what do you say to people who think you're too young to lead a foundation?" I'm not leading it. Jennifer Patterson is. Iron Horse is. Maria Santos is. I'm just the kid who proved that age doesn't matter when you see wrong and refuse to look away. What's your role in the foundation? Advisor, student advocate, and whenever someone calls the hotline saying nobody believes them, I get on the phone and say, I believe you. Show me your evidence. Let's figure this out together. The foundation received 473 calls in the first week. Most were false alarms, worried families seeing problems that didn't exist. But 17 calls flagged real issues: medication errors, unexplained bruising, sudden decline. The Guardian Network investigated every single one. 3 facilities in Montana were cited for violations. 1 in Idaho was shut down pending investigation. 2 families were reunited with relatives they'd been told were too sick for visitors. And Marcus spent 3 hours every Saturday on the hotline, talking to scared kids who sounded exactly like he had 6 months ago. One call stayed with him. A 14-year-old girl in Wyoming. Her grandfather was in a memory care facility. He'd been walking 3 months ago. Now he was bedbound.
Nobody believes me,
she said, crying.
They say it's Alzheimer's, natural progression, but it happens so fast.
What's your evidence? Marcus asked.
I took photos, weight loss, bruises, and I recorded the staff talking. They said they're short on night shift, so they leave him in bed instead of helping him to the bathroom. He's developing bed sores.
Send me everything. Email address is on the website. I'll forward it to our team in Wyoming. They'll investigate tomorrow.
You really believe me?
I believe you, and I'm going to make sure someone helps. The facility was investigated, staff fired. Grandfather moved to better care. Another life saved. But not everyone could be saved. In April, Marcus got a call from Christine Rodriguez. Her voice was shaking.
The medical examiner finished the autopsy. My father. They found lethal levels of blood thinner in his system. Definitely homicide.
Christine, I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. Be angry. Because the prosecution is offering Sharon Vance a plea deal. They want her testimony against Richard. They're willing to reduce her sentence.
How much?
20 years instead of 42. She could be out in 14 with good behavior.
Marcus felt rage flood through him. That's not justice.
I know. That's why I'm calling. The judge is holding a hearing. Victim impact statements. Families can speak.
Tell the court how we feel about the plea deal. Will you come?
When?
Friday. Federal Courthouse, 2 p.m. Marcus looked at his father, who'd been listening. David nodded. I'll be there. The courtroom was packed. 41 families, each one representing a victim, each one there to tell the judge that Sharon Vance didn't deserve mercy. Christine spoke first.
My father survived Vietnam. He survived Agent Orange. He survived 50 years of nightmares. And he died because Sharon Vance decided his life wasn't worth the cost of proper medication. She doesn't deserve 14 years. She deserves to die in prison, knowing she destroyed 41 families for money. One by one, families spoke. Some angry, some crying, all demanding justice. When it was Marcus's turn, he stood at the podium, looked directly at Sharon Vance sitting at the defense table. You tried to kill my grandmother. You killed Mr. Rodriguez, who taught me chess.
You killed 72 other people whose names I've memorized. People who trusted you. People who believed you'd take care of them. And you murdered them for profit. Sharon stared at the table, wouldn't meet his eyes. I was 12 years old when I figured out what you were doing. I had no training, no authority, no resources. Just evidence and determination. And I stopped you. A child stopped you. Because I cared more about protecting my grandmother than you cared about your victims. He leaned forward. You want a plea deal? You want reduced sentence? Then prove you deserve it. Tell us why. Explain how you convinced yourself this was acceptable. Help us understand how a human being looks at 73 elderly veterans and sees dollar signs instead of people. Sharon's lawyer whispered to her. She shook her head. You won't even try, Marcus said, because you can't. There's no explanation except evil. You're evil. And evil doesn't deserve mercy. He sat down. The judge reviewed the statements, reviewed the plea agreement, looked at Sharon Vance for a long moment. The court declines to accept the proposed plea agreement. Mrs. Vance, your original sentence of 42 years stands. No reduction. No early parole consideration. You will serve every day you were given. The courtroom erupted in applause. Marcus felt something break loose in his chest. Not quite healing, but the beginning of it. In June, the Montana legislature passed the Rose Chen Protection Act, mandatory surprise inspections for all elder care facilities, criminal penalties for medication fraud, whistleblower protections for staff who report abuse, and a state-funded oversight board with real enforcement power. Governor signed it in the Capitol Rotunda.
Rose Chen standing beside him, Marcus on her other side. Iron Horse, Reaper, Maria, and 50 other bikers in the audience.
This law exists because a 12-year-old boy refused to accept easy answers, the governor said. Because he documented evidence, because he found allies who believed him, and because he fought for his grandmother when every system failed. This is what citizenship looks like. This is what courage looks like. Rose was invited to speak. She walked to the podium slowly but steadily. No cane, no walker. 6 months ago, I was dying. I knew it. Felt my body shutting down. Felt my mind slipping away. And I couldn't stop it. But my grandson could. And he did. Not because he's exceptional, though he is, but because he loved me enough to act. Her voice strengthened. I'm 77 years old. I've lived through Vietnam, through losing my husband, through watching my son raise a child alone. I've seen humanity at its worst and its best. And I can tell you this. The best of humanity isn't in systems or institutions. It's in people who refuse to look away when someone needs help. She looked at the bikers. These men wear leather and ride motorcycles. Society sees them as dangerous. But they're the ones who answered when my grandson called. They're the ones who stood watch all night to keep me safe. They're the ones who proved that family isn't blood. It's choice. And they chose to protect me. Iron Horse stood, saluted. Every biker followed. Rose saluted back, military crisp. Vietnam veteran honoring modern warriors. Marcus cried. Didn't hide it. Didn't care. After the ceremony, Reaper pulled Marcus aside. How you doing, kid? Really? Better. I still have nightmares sometimes about the people we didn't save. Yeah, that doesn't go away. But it gets easier to carry. Does it? Look around. 41 families got justice. 73 names are known. Laws are changing. Facilities are being monitored. You started a movement, Marcus. That matters. My guidance counselor wants me to see a therapist. She says I've got trauma. Smart counselor. Are you going? Starts next week. Dad found someone who works with kids who've been through traumatic events. Good. You need it. This isn't weakness, kid. It's healing. Marcus nodded. Reaper, can I ask you something? Anything. Do you still think about your sister every day? Every single day. Does it hurt less? No. But I've learned to live with it. Found purpose in it. She died because I didn't push hard enough. Now I push for everyone. That's my promise to her. I made a promise too. To Mr. Rodriguez, to all of them, that I wouldn't forget, that I'd keep fighting. Then keep fighting. But remember to live, too. You're 13. You get to have a childhood. I don't feel like a kid anymore. I know. That's the price of doing hard things. But you can still have joy, still have friends, still be 13. The fighting doesn't have to consume you. Marcus thought about that. About balance. About being both the kid who saved his grandmother and the kid who played video games and struggled with algebra. In August, Marcus returned to school. 8th grade. Different school than before. Too many reporters at his old one. Too many people who saw him as the elder abuse kid, instead of just Marcus. First day, he wore his honorary Hells Angels vest. Teacher made him take it off. Dress code violation. At lunch, he sat alone. Didn't mind. Preferred quiet. A girl approached. You're Marcus Chen. Yeah?
I'm Sophie. My grandmother died in a nursing home 2 years ago. We always thought it was natural, but after your case, my mom requested the records. Found medication errors. Lots of them.
Marcus looked up.
What facility? Sunrise Senior Living. Different company, but same patterns.
You should call the foundation. Hotline number is on the website.
I did. They're investigating. But I wanted to say thank you. Because of you, we know the truth. We're getting justice.
She walked away. 2 weeks later, 3 more kids approached, each one with similar stories, each one whose families were now investigating suspicious deaths. Marcus realized something. He wasn't alone. There were other kids watching grandparents die, other kids gathering evidence, other kids being ignored by adults. He started a student group, meets once a week after school, kids teaching each other how to document concerns, how to navigate systems, how to find adults who listen. They called it Junior Guardians. Within 3 months, chapters formed in 6 states, 243 students, 17 investigations launched, 3 facilities cited for violations. The movement was spreading. In November, exactly 1 year after Marcus stepped into that gas station parking lot, the Hells Angels Montana chapter held a memorial. Evergreen facility had been sold, renamed, completely reformed. The new owners invited everyone to the dedication ceremony. 73 names were engraved on a bronze memorial plaque in the front entrance. Each name, each rank, each service record. These veterans served their country with honor, the plaque read. They died because systems failed them. We remember. We honor. We promise to do better. Marcus stood with his grandmother reading names. She knew some of them, had talked with them during her 6 weeks there.
They deserved better,
Rose whispered.
They got forgotten.
But not anymore. Jennifer Patterson was there with her father's medals. She placed them at the base of the memorial.
Dad, we won. The people who killed you are in prison. The company is destroyed, and laws are changing. You didn't die for nothing.
One by one, families placed flowers, photos, military medals, tokens of love. When the ceremony ended, Iron Horse gathered the bikers. 87 motorcycles lined up. They rode past the memorial in formation. Rolling Thunder. Honor Guard for the fallen. Marcus rode with Reaper, arms around the man who'd believed him when nobody else would. They rode through Pinewood Falls, past the hospital where Rose recovered, past the courthouse where justice was served, past the house where Marcus first gathered evidence, past the gas station where everything changed. Reaper stopped there, killed the engine. 1 year ago, you approached a stranger and asked for help, scared out of your mind, desperate, alone. I remember. Look at what happened because you took that chance. 73 families know the truth. Laws changed, foundation built, movement started. All because a 12-year-old kid refused to stay silent. 13 now. 13. Right, old man. Reaper smiled. You saved your grandmother, Marcus. But you did more than that. You reminded people that courage doesn't require authority. It just requires caring enough to act. I was terrified. Courage and fear aren't opposites. Courage is fear that moves anyway. They sat in silence, watching the sun set over the mountains. Marcus thought about that night, standing in this parking lot, approaching a dangerous-looking stranger, betting everything on the hope that good people still existed, and finding out they did. At home that night, Marcus sat at the kitchen table with his father and grandmother. Rose was teaching him to knit, said it calmed the mind.
Your grandfather would have loved to see this,
Rose said.
everything you've done, everything you've become.
I wish he was here.
He is, baby. Every time you stand up for someone who can't stand up for themselves, every time you refuse to accept injustice, that's him living through you.
David put down his coffee. Marcus, I need to apologize again for not believing you, for dismissing your concerns, for failing you when you needed me most. Dad, you were exhausted. You were grieving Grandma's decline. You trusted the system. The system was wrong. You were right, and I should have listened to my son instead of trusting strangers.
But you listened eventually. That's what matters.
I almost listened too late.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, Rose smiled. That's what Walter used to say. You got there, David. You fought for me when it mattered. Both of you did.
They finished knitting in comfortable silence. Later, Marcus went to his room, sat at his desk, opened his laptop. The Foundation website showed live statistics. Calls received, 4,847. Investigations opened, 347. Facilities cited, 89. Lives saved. Unable to quantify. Unable to quantify. Because how do you measure prevention? How do you count the people who didn't die because someone was watching? His phone buzzed. Text from Sophie, the girl from school. My grandmother's facility just got surprise inspection. Foundation sent team. Found medication errors. Grandma's being moved to better care. Thank you. Marcus typed back. You saved her. You made the call. I just built the tool. You used it. You built the tool because you loved your grandmother. Now other grandmothers get to live. That's everything. Marcus stared at those words. That's everything. Maybe it was. He opened a new document, started writing. Not about the case, not about the trial. Just thoughts, reflections. What he'd learned about courage and fear and the space between where real change happens. He wrote about Mr. Rodriguez teaching him chess, about Patricia being the first person he recorded, about the night he approached Reaper, about 47 people he'd never meet, whose families now had closure. He wrote until midnight, then saved the file, titled it, When Nobody Listens. Maybe someday it would help another scared kid who needed to know that speaking up matters, that evidence matters, that refusing to accept easy answers matters, that one person, even a child, can change everything. 6 months later, Marcus turned 14. The foundation had grown to 11 states. Guardian Network had 900 volunteers. Hotline averaged 60 calls per day. Laws had changed in 7 states, and Rose Chen was planning her 78th birthday party. Full recovery, walking 2 miles daily, leading a knitting circle for veterans at the VA, living the life Sharon Vance tried to steal. At the birthday party, surrounded by family and bikers and families of victims who'd become friends, Rose stood to speak. I'm 78 years old today. By all rights, I should be dead. Sharon Vance planned it. The system allowed it. But my grandson refused to accept it. And because of that, I'm here, alive, healthy, grateful. She looked at Marcus. You gave me back my life, baby. But more than that, you gave me purpose. Every day I wake up is a day Sharon Vance didn't want me to have. So I'm living it fully, loudly, joyfully, as an act of defiance against everyone who thought profit mattered more than people. The room applauded. Marcus hugged his grandmother. She smelled like lavender and determination. I love you, Grandma.
I love you too, my hero, my protector, my Marine." And Marcus realized that's exactly what he was. Not because of patches or titles, but because he'd lived the code his grandfather taught him. Marines don't leave anyone behind. Neither do kids who love their grandmothers enough to fight when the world says stop. Neither do strangers who believe desperate children in parking lots. Neither do communities that choose protection over indifference. The fight wasn't over. There were still facilities cutting corners, still corporations valuing profit over people, still vulnerable elders falling through cracks. But now there was a foundation, a network, a movement,
And a 13-year-old boy who'd proven that speaking up matters, that evidence defeats authority, and that sometimes the person who saves the world is the one nobody expected to listen to in the first place. Because real protection doesn't come from badges or regulations or institutional oversight, though those help. Real protection comes from people who care enough to act, who see wrong and refuse to look away, who understand that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's loving someone enough to fight despite it. Marcus Chen learned that truth at 12 years old, standing in a gas station parking lot, approaching a dangerous stranger, and betting everything on a simple hope that good people still exist, that they'll listen when you speak, and that together, the scared and the scarred can save the world, one grandmother at a time.